Почитуван председател на
Dear Prime Minister Mr. Christian Mickoski, dear ministers, directors, representatives of the diplomatic corps, I'm especially honored and pleased to open up today's event that is dedicated to signing the agreement for sovereign guarantee and special loan agreements regarding the projects of photovoltaic power plant Bitola 3 and rehabilitation of the hydropower plants between the Ministry of Finance, ESM, KfW and EBRD. Without further ado, I'm inviting the people responsible to present their programs. Dear Minister of Finance, you may take the floor. Thank you, Maria. Dear Professor Dr. Christian Mickoski, Prime Minister, dear Petra Drexler, Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, Fatih Turkmenoglu, representative of the EBRD in Skopje, dear Laza Donchev, Director of ADSM, dear guests, allow me to greet the signing of the agreements for financing the photovoltaic power plant Bitola 3, a project which makes a significant contribution to accelerating the energy transition and increasing the share of renewable energy sources. I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to our strategic partners, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and the German KfW Development Bank for their continued support of the Republic of Macedonia in implementing major infrastructure projects, particularly in the energy sector. The Ministry of Finance, by extending a sovereign guarantee, has secured a total of 87 million euro for this project, 50 million euro from KfW and 37 million euro from EBRD, along with additional 10 million euro for rehabilitation of the hydropower plants. Together with these capital investments with ADSME, we are boosting the domestic energy generation, ensuring a reliable energy supply and supporting economic stability and sustainable development. The Ministry of Finance remains fully committed to supporting projects that build the future of our country, a future that is green, economically strong and energy independent. Our commitment extends beyond the energy sector. We are investing in infrastructure, healthcare, education and support to the private sector while pursuing prudent fiscal policy aimed at fiscal consolidation and achieving higher and sustainable economic growth rates. In closing, I would like once again to thank the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and KfW Development Bank for their partnership and support in building our country's future, and the ADSM leadership and team for their dedication and efforts in implementing projects that enhance the domestic production and ensure a reliable electricity supply. Thank you, and once again, congratulations. Thank you, Ms. Minister. I'm now inviting the Managing Director of ADSM, Mr. Lazo Uzunčov. Dear Prime Minister, Mr. Christian Mickoski, dear members of the government, dear Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, Your Excellency Ms. Petra Drexler, dear EU partners, KfW and EBRD, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Today's day is another mark for the future of the Macedonian energy sector by signing the loan agreement with our long-term partners, the KfW Development Bank and EBRD. ADSM is not only continuing but is intensively speeding up its investment cycle in renewable energy sources. These agreements secure our operational sustainability while strengthening the energy security of the country and presenting the key step in our efforts to reduce the carbon footprint. We are speedily running the road towards a green and market-oriented transformation. It is about conducive loans in the amount of 97 million euro, of which 87 million euro from KfW and EBRD are aimed at building the greatest domestic photovoltaic power plant Bitola 3 with an installed capacity of 100 megawatts. 10 million euro from KfW Bank are aimed at the third phase of the rehabilitation of hydropower plants. In terms of the previous green projects of the company, I would like to point out that today we are opening up the bids of potential contractors for Oslomed 2 and Bitola 1 photovoltaic power plants, while in the area of Ranavec near Bogdanci, the physical implementation of phase 2 of the wind park Bogdanci is being implemented. Through these projects in the coming 2 or 3 years, we'll be obtaining more than 300 megawatts installed capacity, which means greater production of green energy and a reduction of the annual CO2 emission by more than 260 tons, 1,000 tons. With the EU and KfW and EBR, we are transforming ourselves into a competitive power in the European energy market. On this occasion, I would wish once again to thank the Prime Minister, Mr. Christian Mickoski, the Minister of Finance, Ms. Gordana Dimitrievska-Kočovska, and the Minister of Energy, Mining and Mineral Resources, Ms. Sanja Božinovska, who through their efforts have significantly speeded up the implementation of significant projects that will enrich the portfolio of ESM. I would also like to thank my dear colleagues from the sector of development and investment and production that through their professionalism have made a contribution that helped us reach this point. I will now invite the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, Her Excellency Petra Drexler. You may take the floor.
Thank you very much. Prime Minister, Ministers, Director, dear partners. It feels like there are occasions that repeat themselves and yet never become routine. Over the last years, we have always come together sometime in winter to mark another concrete step on the path towards energy transition. And it seems logic to me that this tends to happen in winter time, because at this time of the year, the city once again faces elevated levels of air pollution, and the impact of energy production on people's daily lives becomes more apparent for everyone. And that we come together also this year underscores the importance to continue investing consistently in a green market-oriented energy transition. We have come a long way. Last year, I was impressed to see that the Energy Regulatory Commission reported for the first time that North Macedonia has more installed capacity of renewables than of fossil fuel. And I think this is great news, and it means that renewables are no longer alternative, but become mainstream. Today's signing of loan agreements will ensure financing of continued expansion, both of the photovoltaic power plant, alongside also the finalization of the rehabilitation of the hydropower plant. Together, these investments will strengthen clean energy generation, enhance system reliability, and contribute to a resilient and sustainable energy supply. And there's more than that. I can only agree with Her Excellency Minister of Finance that we are also investing into economic stability, because the energy transition is not only essential for addressing climate change at the global level, it is also a critical step towards strengthening national energy security. It enhances independence and contributes to long-term economic sustainability. Because when energy supply is both secure and affordable, it provides businesses with planning certainty, a comparative advantage that strengthens the economy. And last but not least, today's signing of loan agreements is also testimony to the reliable and continued support provided by Germany and the European Union to North Macedonia, as well as to the steadfast commitment of this government to proceed on the path towards energy transition. We much appreciate the strong and trusted partnership between the government, with the Ministry of Finance in the lead, ESM and international financial institutions, namely KfW and EBRD, and the EU as a whole. It is a partnership that illustrates that together we can achieve lasting progress for the benefit of all citizens. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Благодарам амбасадорке.
Thank you, Ms. Ambassador. I'm inviting now to Mr. Fatih Turkmenoglu to address the gathering. You may take the floor.
Dear Mr. Prime Minister, Madam Minister of Finance, Madam Minister of Energy, Mr. General Manager from ESM, members of the Management Board of ESM, Madam Ambassador Director, my KfW Director colleague, Director Hudolini, colleagues from EU, and distinguished guests. It's such an honor to be here to sign the loan agreement for the Bitola 3 solar power plant. This is a defining moment for the energy future of the country. A moment when the country confirms its strong commitment to move with confidence toward a cleaner and more resilient path. Transforming a depleted coal mine into a solar power plant is more than an investment. It's a declaration that green transition is real and that strong partnership can unlock strong support in new ways. And that the future can indeed be cleaner, fairer, and more secure than the past. With 87 million financing, 37 million from EBRD and 50 million from KfW, Bitola 3 will add 134 megawatt of new solar capacity to the grid, generating almost 181 gigawatt of clean energy each year, avoiding 134,000 tons of CO2 emissions every year. This power will light homes, support businesses, and strengthen energy resilience of the country and independence. And at the same time will enhance the energy resilience to improve the competitiveness of the national economy and therefore providing a strong foundation for sustainable growth, job creation, and the long-term social stability. The EBRD is proud to be a long-standing partner of the country, with over 3 billion invested in more than 200 projects to date. Our collaboration with ESM and KfW on Bitola 3 solar PV reinforces our commitment to validate the excellent role of the Just Energy Transition platform by supporting the country's green transition and strengthening governance, compliance, and gender inclusion in the energy sector. Today's signing is a milestone, but it's also a promise to continue working together to deliver a cleaner, more secure energy for the future of the country. Thank you.
Благодарам, господин Фатих. И овие...
Thank you, Mr. Fatih, for these keynote speeches. I'm now proposing that we wrap up by the address of our Prime Minister. Thank you, Mariam. Dear Ministers, dear representatives of institutions, dear partners from international financial institutions, dear associates, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't reiterate what has already been said in terms of the size of the investment, its technical parameters and specifics. I would like to send 3 clear messages that I think are important to be disclosed at this important event. The first one being that without an energy independence and stability, we cannot develop our economy in the manner in which we are ambitious to do it, which means that one of the major priorities of this government to make our country energy stable, which is a security issue on the other hand. To that end, on the outset, in order to confirm its ambitions, the government has modified the laws and established the Ministry of Energy, Mineral Resources and Mining, something that for us was very important. And I may say that as a pioneer in the government, the ministry, together with ESM and the Ministry of Finance, together with the government and the other institutions, in this 1.5 years since its operation, has justified its role. And I expect that also in the future we'll be able to deliver results that would lead us to energy independence as a country, and from an importing country to turn ourselves into an exporting country in terms of energy, because you cannot import oil and gas and all sorts of energy sources and being competitive on the market. That's impossible, at least through the resources we avail of, which is the renewable energy, the sun, the wind, the water, to be used properly, to be able to secure safe supply of energy to citizens, households, and why not to the region and the neighboring countries. And I think that through these types of ambitious projects, we can do that, although I have to say that the management of AD ESM on the outset has faced fantastic large challenges, a lack of maintenance and non-rehold production facilities. Mining facilities were fully ruined and devastated, not updated, not maintained. Hydro facilities, and at that point the company was in a rather tragic situation rather than a wrapped up operational unit. I know that huge efforts are being put by the ADSM's management, producing some kind of impact, and I'm expecting this for this impact to increase even more in terms of reducing the generation price and increasing the generation capacity, thus supplying energy to both companies and citizens, and turn ourselves into an export country, energy export country. And to that end, I would like to thank the financial institutions, KfW Bank and EBRD, that found their funding to support these projects in the amount of 100 million euro, so to say. The second point is that the government is supporting private initiatives with even higher interest. Tomorrow we'll be discussing the urban plans for the construction of the biggest wind park that has been a private initiative, which is already being implemented, that is located on the stretch between municipalities Štip, Karbinci and Radoviš, whose investor is Alcazar company, amounting to $1 billion, and only the formalities and building permits will be completed by the end of this year, and this investment will start being realized in month 1 or even maybe quarter 1 in the coming year, which will add value to our production portfolio when it comes to the energy production from renewable energy sources. At the same time, we are having talks and negotiations with other investors to accelerate and remove the administrative obstacles such that we can take over the administrative risk and turn this into reality, and our production portfolio regarding the renewable energy sources to be as rich as possible and to provide greater exports not only in the region but beyond. And I think that these private initiatives are also part of the focus and the lens of this government's operation. And my third point today would be the issue we are faced with every winter, mentioned by Her Excellency the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, which is the pollution, the air pollution, and the presence of PM 2.5 and 10 particles, especially during the winter when the heating season is starting, because unfortunately in the last decades, nothing has been invested in alternative ways and offers to both citizens and households to heat their homes in different ways, be it through natural gas utilization or remote warm hot water heating through the utilization of natural gas. This was an issue to be answered by the previous generations, and this generation and the coming generations should have a clear answer, clear goal and clear strategy what to do. It's not a speedy process. It will take years. It'll take a lot of time in order to be able to the citizens that are currently using fossil fuels, firewood and other heating sources for their homes be offered a natural ecological manner of heating through the utilization of natural gas or hot water remote heating. In this regard, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Turkish company AXA that is working on a pre-project documents to set up such projects here in Skopje, and I'm expecting for this facility to be built between the cities of Gostivar and Tetovo. And on top of that, we are also working with other companies that are also interested in constructing these types of cogenerative gas power plants that will produce electricity but also also as a side effect will produce hot water to remote heat the households and commercial facilities even. And in this way, we think that the pollution will be reduced to a significant level. To that end, together with the Ministry of Transport and Aid, Macedonian Railroad and Infrastructure and Transport, we are working on the introduction of the city train project that will be connecting the outskirts settlements areas to the downtown, thus reducing the public transportation in Skopje, such that people from the eastern and western part of the city be able to transport themselves to downtown Skopje by using the services of this city train. And activity number 3 that as a government we are undertaking is the procurement of electrical buses that I deem will dramatically affect not only the perception but the essence of reducing the PM2.5 and PM10 particles, thus reducing positively the pollution not only in the capital but also the other cities, because it's not only about Skopje, it is about the other countries feeling the same problem across the country, that have no organized central heating, have no alternative for natural gas to heat their homes, and they do not use energy efficient systems to heat their homes. That is to say, they're using fossil fuels because they have no other options. For decades, they've been left without any choice. And as a result of all of these processes, today we are witnessing air that we are all breathing, which unfortunately is of the poorest quality across Europe and the world in the first 2 or 3 months of the winter. So as a government, we are undertaking all the measures which unfortunately have not been undertaken in the previous decades, that would take time. We never promise miracles, they're impossible. However, we are ambitious, we have the desire, we have the plan to implement all of this, and I expect that in the coming years this implementation will start, thus resulting to a better quality air for citizens of our country, especially in the winter months when the heating season is on and administrative and commercial buildings and homes are heated. Once again, in the end, let me thank the responsible institutions, the Ministries of Finance and Energy, ADSM, the management, the employees, financial institutions supporting this project. These projects, that is to say, there's going to be many more this type of projects in the future, because we have high ambition. We wish to see it coming to fruition, and I wish ADSM to implement these projects as soon as possible and to generate as much energy as possible from renewable energy sources. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President of the Government. Thank you all for your keynote speeches. Now we will move on with the second part of our agenda. That is to say, signing the agreements that were discussed so far. First of all, I'm inviting the Minister of Finance, Ms. Gordana Dimitrievska-Kočovska, to sign the agreements of sovereignty guarantee for the photovoltaic Bitola 3, with Mr. Moritz, and then immediately after that with Mr. Fatih Turmenoglu, the representative of EBRD office.
Благодарам.
Thank you. I'm inviting Ms. Lazo Uzunchev, Managing Director of ADSM, together with Mr. Moritz Reme to sign the loan agreement on photovoltaic power plant Bitola 3 and implementation of rehabilitation of hydropower plants phase 3.
Благодарам.
Thank you. I'm inviting Mr. Fatih Turmanoglu together with Mr. Lazo Uzunchev to sign the loan agreement for the photovoltaic plant, power plant Bitola 3. The separate agreement, the last agreement on implementation for the photovoltaic plant Bitola 3 to be signed by Mr. Lazo Uzunchev and Mr. Moritz Reme.
Во ред, доколку сме завршени, благодарам.
Okay, if we're done, thank you all.